going from being self-employed, being a business owner, to finding that financial stability and also being able to invest once you get that ground under your feet. And today I really want to talk about that because I have my favorite lender here with us. I'm gonna go ahead and let her introduce herself, and then we'll jump right into the conversation, let them know where they can find you and what you do.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Joann Lopez here, aka La Reina de los Loans. A little bit about myself. I've been in the business for over 26 years, fully dedicated in the mortgage industry. Thank you for having me.
Now, this is an English pod. What did you say your name was? The Reina?
La Reina de los Loans.
So the Queen of Loans.
The Queen of Loans, sorry.
To translate.
I can't say the Queen of Loans. It's like, sounds weird.
What I want to know is who gave you that name? That's a pretty cool name.
You know, somebody asked me that the other day, and Marta actually gave me that nickname.
Did she really?
Yes, she did.
Cool.
Yes. So I always tell her, thanks for giving me that nickname.
That's awesome.
Okay, I would have thought that one came from Nate.
So let me. It actually did come from me, but of course, I never get credit.
Okay.
But
Martha overheard Nate and they took credit for it.
Is that what it was?
It was, yeah, it was me.
Wow.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. It
That's
was
where
actually,
the beef started.
Yeah, that's where the beef started with me and Martha.
Hey, bro, this is not going to be a Bash Martha podcast, bro.
Oh,
Get out of here.
So Giovanni, real quick, how did Joann become your favorite lender?
Well, like I tell all the other lenders that I've had an opportunity to work with, is that I feel like I was spoiled simply because I got into the business fresh. Everything that you guys had already done, the way that you worked with Joann, pretty much, like, not to say it this way, but to say it that way, like she was already trained to work with us, right? So like I told the other lenders, like, look, if you want my business, I want you to know that I'm spoiled. Like there's a certain way that I expect things to be done, but that's because of you guys and of course the way Joann went ahead and fulfilled like the promises that she made. So I don't know exactly how she got to where she's at. I just know that what she does, I've always been like a fan of it.
So would it be appropriate to say that La Reina de los Loans was trained by El Señor de las Casas?
Sounds like a power team there. Sounds like that might be what we've been missing. Yeah.
Sounds like you should be on the Spanish podcast together.
Yeah.
Right?
Me sale la palabra.
He was about to talk Spanish. That's why he got stuck.
He used to say it was Spanglish.
That's awesome.
So to go back to our initial topic, right? I really wanted to talk about this because this is something that we preach to our agents, and of course Joann helps us out, or another lender that we'll use, is the fact that once you have your feet from under you, once you've been able to get a little bit of financial stability, whatever that looks like for you, that next level is to invest. And it's hard for people to see that because especially when you're self-employed or a business owner, it's like, okay, well, technically I don't have stable income, but how do you traject yourself to go into the investment side of things? It's hard for people to see that. And I think it's something that Nate and Vic, and of course you, Joann, help us with. So it's something I wanted to talk about. How could you guys guide somebody who's either self-employed, business owner, or even a realtor to go into that next level of investing?
I think for being self-employed and being a business owner is a difficult thing to do. I think there's certain income that you have to pay yourself to live. There's certain income that you need for the business. And there's certain things that happen in business that will ruin those plans. And being self-employed, you have to have your books in order. I think when we decided to make the decision to grow the company and really go all into real estate, one of the first things that we wanted to get in line was our accounting and was our reporting, making sure that we're reporting properly. And I think it was one of the bigger fights that I brought up to Nate, that I was like, bro, like, we pay an accountant, where's our quarterly reports, like, where's our stuff? And he's like, I mean, they do them. And I was like, okay, well, like, where are they? And when we got them, I don't think it was as detailed as I would have liked. And now we have an accounting, like, in-house accounting department that works with the accountant, and everything is more detailed. And I think it's tough, especially with business partners. And maybe I'll say that's easier, right? But as a self-employed person, it's tough to be naked with your finances, to really see where like the dollars are going, and to be honest with yourself on how you're spending that money. Is it for business, or are you overindulging because you had a good month? And are you preparing for those slow months? And Nate and I do a good job of keeping each other honest and trying to keep, the books balanced. I think when you're by yourself, probably a little easier to overspend and feel.
And I think, honestly, what happens is that, like you said, when you're by yourself, you're self-employed, right? So it's super easy to commingle. In other words, you feel like your business's money is your money, right? Because hey, it's a business. The business made money. It's my money. So whatever, right? And whenever you're in a partnership, it's not like that. You learn to make the company its own entity, right? So the company has expenses. The company has to eat and have fun and have its own things, right? And so we've separated it, and I think it's important to separate it from each other, right? In other words, you don't want to burden your partner too much, because sometimes you do have to burden your partner, but you don't want to burden your partner too much with expenses, because then it takes away from his creativity, it takes away from his drive, it takes away from his vision, right, or what he wants to do. And so a lot of times it turns into a whole, hey man, I want to do this, and I'm like, oh, we can't this month, and that's it. It's not like, it's like, hey, you know what, we're in the red, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're just, it just makes him think, oh, okay, well then I need to get out there and make more money. Whenever two people are worried about what's going on with the company, as far as expenses, as far as profit and loss, as far as tax reportings and loans, etc., then it just really everybody can turn into that. Oh man, you're just worried about that you're in the red, or you're in trouble, or that you're trying to get whatever. So that's why I think it's good for everybody to keep their own priorities in order, right?
And to jump in that, the advice is, you go. We've been to seminars. I've gone to different places, and you hear that, like, oh, never have a partner, never have a partner, never have a partner. I think it's because people tend to want to hide things from people, and I think that's why they tell you not to have a partner. And if you are going to go that route, and I have a partner, I mean, I think I say it over and over. I've said it to Nate. I would never do this business by myself. I would have been in a different type of business, and even then, I could never envision myself like just by myself. It doesn't. No me llama la atención. Like it doesn't. It's not something that I want to do. So my advice to small business owners or people that are thinking about being self-employed is partner with yourself. Treat yourself like a business partner. If you are going to go the route and do it solo, treat yourself like a business partner. Be honest to yourself. Be realistic on the numbers that are coming in, and be prepared for those tough months. And it's a difficult thing to do. Yeah.
But why all the seminars and all these gurus and all these investment people, do you know why they always push for you not to have a partner? There's a question.
So you can be tied to them?
So you can get 2 sales versus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, how many times have people come and pitch us stuff,
All the time.
People always are coming to pitch us stuff, and I'll be sold, or Vic will be sold, right? And then Vic will bring me the, nah, bro, I don't think we should because of this and that. Or I'll tell him, hey, bro, that doesn't even sound right. I think we should because of this, And then you have two people, right, making conscious decisions and kind of collaborating, right, against one person. And the marketing guys, they don't like that. They want a decision maker that can make a decision right then and there. Okay? Now, on the flip side, right, you also don't want to partner up with somebody that is not your equal, or is not a business owner, it's not an entrepreneur, because then that person will just Debbie down you, will Debbie down you out of business.
Was that you that sent me the study on Instagram? You sent me a video on Instagram that there was a study that you put one negative person in a group of 5 people, the productivity and the complaints, like, it drops by 40% and the complaints increase by 50%.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super interesting. I think that we both do a pretty good job of cutting negativity off. People are negative. I'm like, all right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Start talking about other stuff. All right, bro, I'm done.
Yeah.
You're battling.
So to bring Joann into this, because she is on the loan side, like, what are some things that you would advise for somebody who's an entrepreneur who's looking to buy a house? Let's say they get into the business this year and they're looking to buy a house within 3 to 4 years. Like, what is a guidance or a program that you could tell them to look at?
What I have told many of the business owners, whether it's a small business owner, entrepreneur, to keep their finances in order, right? They need to be able to show enough assets in their bank account, because it's not just using their tax returns to get them a loan. Like, for instance, I have a buyer right now that deposits well over $250,000 monthly in her bank account. However, on her taxes, she writes it all off because there is many deductions to put in those taxes. But I always explain to them, like, it's important for you to show enough assets into the business bank account. it's always the best way to keep them, because you can have a personal account. Yes, we can use the personal account, but to advise them, the best is to put all the money in the business account so that we could use like a bank statement product, right? Or a 1099 if they're a 1099, or a P&L statement that we have product too. There's so many different avenues to get them into a home, not just their taxes. However, if they decide they wanted to go and put all the income on their tax returns, then they could do that. But then that's where I come in and explain to them, give them a scenario like, okay, if you're going to want to use your taxes, then it's important for you to not deduct so much so that you can get into a home with your tax returns. But then what happens is when you put so much profit, then you owe all this money to the IRS, right?
Yeah.
So then what does the business owner say? Oh, no,
Yeah.
no,
And
that's too much.
And I've always, just to give a little like insight of where Lionsgate Realty is going in the future, I've always had this conversation with Nate. I don't think I've ever like gotten a true confirmation from you, so I guess we'll get it now. The idea was always, bro, if I got to pay money to the government or give bonuses out to the employees, I'm gonna give some bonuses out, and I'm driving that income down. You guys, I'd rather do that all day. Right,
Yeah.
it's a win-win scenario for everyone, and I think that's the vision here. That as the income grows, we're able to give out some bonuses and help opportunities in that way.
It just doesn't work that way. Like I feel the same way, right? I would rather give bonuses, rather give donate money. I would rather do all those things. But there's caps on all that. There's caps on that. The only people that could get away with that is the billionaires and the millionaires, right? And we're not there yet. Right, we still have some time to be there in
sure.
a billionaire company, millionaire company, right? And so the thing is that there's a certain amount of money that you can give away and that you can write off. But what's a write off? A write off is nothing. The thing is that until you hit a certain tax bracket, you have to pay to play. You have to pay the government, and that's how you keep them off of you. That's how you keep them from auditing you. That's how you keep them from shutting you down. And there's other ways that we can move money around, right? So that we won't have to pay as much. But at the end of the day, plan to pay the government. And I think it's so funny, right? I really didn't realize this or didn't understand this, right, until I started working with this type of income. I've heard people say, mostly Hispanic people, right? They're like, I don't want to pay penalties, And I said, penalties? What penalties? The government doesn't charge you penalties. Are you late on your taxes? They're like, oh no, I don't want to pay the taxes. I don't want to pay the penilties. I said, taxes are not penalties. I said, taxes are taxes. Just pay them. Pay them and structure your company correctly. To where you don't have to pay as much, because there's a huge difference from paying taxes on income earned, right, as a regular person, than paying taxes on income earned in an LLC. The difference is once 30, and I'm just talking about somebody who's maybe make $100,000 a year, right? One is $30,000 to $40,000, right? If you're just doing everything on your own, and then if you do it through the LLC, you might pay about $8,000. It's a significant difference, but pay that. That's one commission split. That's one whatever, And I always try to tell my agents, hey, look, you're starting to make enough money to where if your husband doesn't work and he doesn't have that W-2 and he doesn't have all these write-offs, you don't have all these properties to write off, then I tell people, the agents, hey, you're making more than 30, 40 grand, get yourself a little LLC, pay yourself to the LLC. And it benefits you at the end.
I think the more important, or one of the important things that you said was how you structure your company is really important.
Yes.
I Googled it right now really quickly because I read a long time ago. The Associated Press did a release that there were 70,000 pages in the tax property code, and I just thought that was a lot. There's 6,871 line items that you can deduct. So once again, the advice is partner with yourself. Do the accounting, get a tax structure. I had the privilege of working with a close friend of ours that has a dealership, like a buy here, pay here lot. And he opened his books up to me when I was looking at doing the accounting and structuring that stuff. And he talked to me about how they do their owner disbursements and how they set up their structure and how they pay themselves out their W-2 and how they treat their business like a corporation. And he has a partner in the way they pay themselves out. And I mean, the amount of deductions, the amount of things that he takes, but you're going to pay regardless. He pays his tax strategist. He pays his accounting firm. There's a pay there, but it's given his company an opportunity to grow. and minimize that tax threshold, and you continue to leverage, because those things are like all cash, right? Like people are buy here, pay here lots, so they're doing a lot of stuff. So I think at 6,800, or let's just round up for easy number, 7,000 line items on a tax property code. I don't think there's any way that like you and I can memorize that or know that or no.
And it's just like what I tell people: hire a realtor, to help you purchase a property. Don't do it yourself. I mean, do you know how to buy a house? Yes. Have you bought 5 or 6 houses? Yes. Can you go to Open Door or to Zillow and buy a house without any realtor? Yes. Right. But it's just like that with your taxes. I would never take my taxes to H&R Block. I would never take my business to the guy down the street that has an office next to Fiesta. It's like I want somebody that is up and studying whatever has changed, and actually they actually email. I have a guy, he emails me like information, like he wants my business. He's emailing me these changes. Hey, did you know this? Did you know that? So I go back to my account and say, hey, did you know this? Oh yeah, I know that. And that's the thing too, is what Vic was saying, there's some things that you have to know and learn yourself, right? So that you can know what to look for, right? Because if you take it to I'm going to do your taxes, whatever, she's going to do what she thinks is best for you. Remember, she's dealing with 20, 30, 40 people. She's just trying to get your taxes done. Nah, come on. So you got to get with somebody who's going to take some time, and don't be afraid to pay them.
That's true, because many buyers have come to me and said, well, Joann, how much do I need to report on my taxes? I can't actually tell you. I can't tell you what to report. But what I can advise you is to find a good CPA or a tax preparer that's going to take care of you and make sure that they are putting everything in the right line items, going over everything, asking you all the 100 questions, because I've seen so many taxes that the buyer doesn't even know that those items were on those taxes.
Yeah.
So I always advise them on finding the right tax preparer or CPA that's going to be able to go over everything. Yes, it does cost more money, but hey, your taxes should be done properly so that one, you prepare yourself to buy a house, or two, you're paying what you need to pay and you're writing off what you need to write. And most importantly, you're not could have all these issues with the IRS or having to pay all this money that because you were audited later, all those things. I mean, I've given so much advice on preparing them to be able to either own a home in the future or the next, near future.
Joann, I'm pretty sure you told me how much I had to report to buy a house before.
She said, I looked at your income and I looked at your debts and I made an educated guess.
Estimate,
I could give you an example, but I can't tell you what to put.
She said about 67,000.
She said, in this case, in this scenario, you might have to do this. Yeah.
Right.
So, Joann, how is all this stuff with the immigration and whatever, ICE, right? ICE and all that stuff. How has this affected your business?
At first, it did take a small hit because that eliminates the FHA financing world for those who are on a work permit, TPS, even the DACA. However,
the what?
DACA, which is,
yes. They can't get loans?
That was from the DREAM Act, right?
Really?
Not even. The DREAM Act, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. But what I've seen lately is not really so much of that anymore. That's kind of dissolved.
Really?
Now I switch them over to conventional, or I prepare them to get into the conventional financing and get them that kind of loan. And there's still programs to help them with that kind of loan under conventional financing, even if they have a work permit.
Yeah.
We could still do it.
I think that was the stuff that we're saying, is that all these loan officers got online, saying like, oh, you're never going to be able to get a loan, like do it now. And it's like, they're fear mongering and, just trying to like create a hook and get clients in. But it's like, you're getting that short term, like happiness of a client now, but then I feel like you ruin your reputation or your like market knowledge by saying this like junk just to get a deal today. And so I think you do have to be careful in how you present yourself and those things.
Yeah. They ask me, or the first thing I ask them is, are you a citizen or a resident, or do you have a work permit, And when they say they have a work permit, okay, is it valid? First things first. So we want to make sure that it's not expired. And if it is expired, do they have the extension automatically? A lot of them do. And so those are the first few things that I look up instantly to make sure, because I'm going to turn them over to a conventional financing. I'm not going to tell them automatically you don't qualify, but I also don't want to tell them, hey, you automatically do qualify. So I want to make sure that I'm doing my due diligence, making sure that I'm structuring it where I'm able to possibly get them into financing. And if that's not that, then maybe there's the specialty program, the non-QM financing, the non-conventional, the non-FHA, VA, USDA, because there's other programs where they don't have to be a resident or a citizen, and they could still get financing. There's so many different options out there now.
I do have a question. I think like we always hear, and I feel like it's I don't even know what to say. It's like they say it, but I know it's true. That there's like 3% like ITIN loans and things like that. How do those come about? How often are they available? How accessible are they to people? Because I think back from what I remember, I think like when you guys were in like 2004 to 2007, there was a lot of those programs.
There was.
And then they like went away.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm hearing them come back, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Where do those come from? Are they real? Is it lies? Are they rage baiting me or clickbaiting me?
Well, they were back then. They were
They're
like,
doing both.
back then they were like 20%, then 10%. Then I even heard them going down to 5% or something like that.
Right.
But I remember it was always a rush to get them because they were run out of money. So I really never understood them. I just didn't care for them, honestly.
I don't think there's any a rush for running out of funds for a buyer that has an ITIN number. The product is there. Yes, it's as low as 10%, 15%, 20% down. As far as the 3.5% or the 5%, that is available to some lenders. But the thing about that is that there's a little
there's a little finesse going on. Where's the finesse at?
So it's not quite your property.
Okay.
It belongs like to an Indian tribe.
I've seen that, yes.
So you don't really own the property. So for me, I don't really think that sits well with me to like tell the buyer, hey, you qualify. Let me get you this loan. And then later they find out that it's really not their property.
I did not know that.
So
how is it not their property?
Because it's apparently owned by some Indian tribe, like the
until
land.
it gets paid.
Till it gets paid, right?
Isn't that the same with a regular mortgage?
No.
And so they default.
It's like-
they keep it. They don't have to go through the foreclosure process, right?
Right. It's
I've
like
heard of
it's not really yours. You're not even the mortgage is not even really technically in your name per se.
And because they're
The mortgage
Indians,
is not in your name either.
Like per se, it's not. I don't know the full specifics, but I know that it's not truly your property versus you having a mortgage directly with the lender as yourself.
Before we go further, being a proud American, I want to know that I want to let you know they're called Native Americans, not Indians. But
so Native Americans, Native Americans, right? The true Americans, right?
The Northern Mexicans.
The original Mexicans. True Americans, original Mexicans, right?
Yeah,
Native
I think they
American.
calls himself a Northern Mexican because he's from Monterrey, but it's really because he's from Texas.
Yeah. And I'm a Northern Mexican. I'm from Texas. Yeah. So the thing is this. I've heard of these loans, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were accessible like that. But apparently the tribes, they don't abide by our rules, by American rules. So they don't have to go through the foreclosure process,
No,
right?
they're native.
They just
Yeah,
keep,
they have their own.
They just keep the property.
It's like their own
laws.
country, their own
And
world.
and
they say goes.
And it goes into some crazy like some crazy trust or something. I don't know. It's nuts. I've heard of it, but I didn't know it was
yeah.
accessible to us here, or to for them to be able to buy properties like that.
It has become more of a topic recently. Yes,
I've seen. So then that's why I've been curious. I've seen that kind of go around a lot, and I've had a lot of not a lot, but I've had some lenders pitch us that we have this, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because I've seen one lender who was offering a 5% ITIN loan, and this was like maybe a year ago or at the beginning of this year or something like that. So I have seen the 5%, never seen the 3, but I have seen the 5%. But now that makes sense.
I want to go get my ancestry.com, improve my indigenous roots, and then I want to buy one of those houses, and then I want to take them to court and say I'm native too. See how that plays out.
We talked about you qualifying for 0% loans the other day, but we won't bring that up right now.
You guys are gonna be so disappointed because I have a delusional aunt who swears that she's Spaniard and whatever, and I'm like, my grandfather would say, "What part of Spain are you from? If you're Spaniard, right?" And so they finally did their like ancestry stuff, and like I think it was like 70-something% from northern Mexico, Tamaulipas. And I was like, what? It literally said Tamaulipas on there. And I was like, I was like I was like throwing in her face. I said, "Look, you Mexican."
Have you done yours?
Huh? She had like less than 1% Spaniard. No, I would never do that.
That's
They'll put me on a database and then
Yeah, I know, right? I have no illusions. I know I'm American.
Look,
That's all right.
look,
I know I'm American.
look, y'all COVID vaxxers. They already put you on the database. I don't hear anything. Go on ahead and do the 23andMe, dog. You're already
I
there.
think we're already there.
Yeah, you already back.
Speak for y'all three.
No, I've heard about people that do that. Somebody got hit with child support because you have to check out a box not to give out your information, right? And they didn't. And
Yeah.
I know a person that got hit up with child support,
Dang.
back child support from a kid he had, and I know another person got arrested for a crime like 20 years ago. So I was
Oh,
like,
for his ancestry stuff?
No, I
So
went,
you're like-
I went
you
down
have
a
to check, you have
rabbit
to check the
hole.
little box.
I went
yeah.
down a rabbit hole with this, and they were using that data from the ancestry.com to go and compare it to the kids like in the Philippines who have like American parents. They never claim them, and they're doing that to like find their dad. I was
The
like, bro,
Vietnam
like what are
people?
you doing?
No.
Yes, in the Philippines too. Yeah, because you know like that, like the red
Wow.
light districts, like over there, like I guess it's legal.
Yeah.
I just did a little bit of research.
How
I've
do you
never
know- how
gone.
do you know
I've never been
that?
out of the I've never been out of the
That's
country.
awesome,
I've never
bro.
been out
I
of the
would've
country.
been-
So don't
You
put
can
that on
extort
me.
people. Hey, you got a kid in the Philippines. If you don't want
Yeah,
them to
but
find
they were
out,
using that, yeah. And I mean, that's all information is given to the government too. Not to say they were anti-government.
You see?
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
now
wild.
I saw that a lot of those companies are being bought out by private companies, and then what they're going to do with that is it's like a whole other rabbit hole. I was fortunate enough to listen into a women's conversation before this pod started, and my wife is like Giovanni says that she is no longer a conspiracy theorist. They're just theories.
Yeah,
But what
they're
you say?
just
They're just
conspiracy.
conspiracies.
They're just
Yeah.
conspiracies.
They're not
Yeah.
theories. They're just straight
Yeah,
up
that's
conspiracies.
straight up conspiracy. Yeah.
They I know like the girls and they use like their cycle trackers, monthly. And with all these, there was like a big scare with the with like the abortion like ban and those cycle trackers and how they were going to be able to find out that you're not, like obviously that you had an abortion or something like that, and they were going to use those cycle trackers. So there's like a big conspiracy theory on that, and she's like old fashioned. I don't know how you do it in papers or sticks. I don't know, but she tracks a different way now, I guess.
If you want to go down an actual rabbit hole, look at what birth control does and the reason why there's a bunch of weak men nowadays. That's crazy rabbit hole.
because they
But
flush
it's-
it down the toilet and then they drink
gets
it.
put-
And that's
yeah.
why everybody's depressed and
And not just that.
They're firm. They're,
Well,
what
I
do
don't
you
want to go
call it?
into that conversation, but yeah.
What is it called?
Oh, yeah, sorry, bro.
Estrogen.
What were you gonna say?
That's why you have estrogen
Yeah.
and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's all the plastics, bro.
That too.
Oh my god!
It's all the microplastics all over.
Look, I only drink Fiji water. It's never been touched. It comes from the volcano.
You just put it in a plastic bottle.
That's why
Yeah,
I
you
never.
just put it in plastic.
transferred in a freaking hot tanker car.
I've
yeah.
seen Nate drink from the water fountains out here in Houston, bro.
I have. Best water.
Nah, the
Dude.
best one's from Baytown. That's why everybody lives so long.
That
over
is,
there.
hey, you know what? That is true. People in Baytown live a long time.
And we don't age, yeah.
They be getting shot. They be surviving bullet wounds in the head.
That's funny.
Self-healing,
That is
self-healing
true.
water.
I wanted to touch on that ITIN product real quick because a lot of buyer or future
it's always
buyers,
business with her, huh?
they don't they first of all don't think they can buy a home because they have an ITIN number. And then they're business owners. Back to the business part, right? Being an entrepreneur, back to being a business owner. They feel that they cannot buy a home, one, because they're ITIN, and two, they write off everything on their taxes. But lo and behold, we have ITIN bank statement product, ITIN P&L product. There is a way for a buyer who wants to get into a home to be able to still purchase a home. So it's possible for them to still get in a home. It's grabbing that audience, speaking to those people, letting them know that there is sí se puede, right? Sí se puede. And helping them, explaining, guiding them through that process so they're able to get into a home. A lot of business owners, as y'all know, are Hispanic. I've met quite a bit of them, and they are clueless to it completely. But when it's not put out there in the world that they think that they can't buy a home because they don't have a valid social, but they make X amount of money, they report their taxes, they put all that income in their bank accounts. Yes, they can have zero credit and still buy a home.
There's a lot of business owners that shouldn't be business owners, honestly. I think that it should be harder for you to get an LLC, and I think that you should go through some kind of certification to start a company. You can't just
Maybe like college.
College, maybe. Yeah, definitely.
Nate, nada más tú. Nada más tú
Finally,
puedes.
yeah.
Nomás yo puedo.
And
Nomás
he said,
yo puedo.
I already got my in.
Yeah.
It's
Nate
just
said,
like
I'm in, bro. We
yeah.
gotta try to close
It's like,
the room.
what is it? The Cubans who say, nah, don't let nobody in.
That's what they do right now.
The Cubans say, yeah, nah, I'm here. Don't let nobody in.
Oh,
The thing about it is that I worked for a company. Like, I literally worked for a company. I was, upper management. I was silent partner. I've been in all these positions before I decided to say, okay, I'm gonna start a company. So it wasn't like I just got up one day and said, oh, okay, I'm gonna start a company and I'm just gonna start trying to make money this way. It's tough. And I think that everybody who has their own company, or let me phrase that. Let me go to the consumer. If you're a consumer, right? And you want to hire somebody for a professional service, for a professional job, make sure they don't have a full-time job somewhere and just doing this on the weekends or doing this at night. Like, I don't mind, you're gonna buy some tamales, you're gonna buy some conchas, you're gonna buy something, off Instagram. That's their side deal. I get it, right? But if you're gonna buy a home, if you're gonna, if you need your taxes done, if you need to form a company, if you need to do any of those things, don't do it with somebody that's part-time in it. I had a realtor once in McAllen that I fired, and this little guy was just freaking doing LLCs left and right for people. And I'm like, why are you setting up LLCs? I said, where's the operating agreement? You're just literally just filing an LLC for them and letting them go wild to crash into walls. Like, explain to them what they need, what they have to do, what this is. Nobody knows. And so that's what I'm saying. Everybody just finds like they learn a little bit about something and they just run with it. And I feel like people should know.
I think that's
what
already
they're doing.
starting to come to an end. The pendulum has already swung the other way around. It's been too easy to start a business and make money for like the last 6 years, I would say.
Oh yeah, you can't.
This year probably doesn't count. Everybody's starting to feel that pain, and next year's probably going to be the same thing again. So I was actually telling my realtors that I switched my whole dynamic, especially when it comes to like social media. I used to be 80% of who you are and 20% of what you do as a business owner. And now I'm flipping it completely because people want an expert. So it's 80% of what I do as a professional and 20% of myself. So that's the route that we're going down. And I think the economy in general, like the country itself, is going back for people looking for professionals. It no longer matters, oh, do you have the looks for this? Oh, can you just show up here today? It doesn't matter. They want somebody who knows what they're doing, who can guide them down the right path, and not just that, who have a whole team around them. And I think that's what's so important. I tell my realtors, especially newer ones who do have a job, whenever they're talking to their clients, I was like, if you want to show confidence to your client because they think that you're still working, so you're not a professional, which technically you're not, be like, look, I have a team behind me. It's not just me. I'm here to introduce you to my manager who's going to take over the deal. And then I have my broker and my whole team is behind me. I'm just here to do the introduction. I'm going to learn from the deal. I'm not going to do this deal for you. My manager's doing that. And that's the importance of having a team, a lender, title company, everything that we have, especially like here in-house.
Yeah. I think this at our meeting yesterday, and I'll clarify that now. I told my realtors they need to watch this podcast, so I hope they've followed along this long. I told them that they needed to do 80% personal and then 20% business. What I meant to say is that you need to have 80% personality, like in your business, and then that 20% it's a call to action. It's a hard sell. So you're not constantly hard selling every pitch, every video you're not posting trying to sell yourself, but every video should have to do with your job and what you do, right? Other than that, like, I don't know what grown men are doing on Instagram if you're not. If you ain't doing it for work.
I was trying to get sponsored by Target by doing a Target haul.
They're drinking coffee. They're drinking coffee and eating pan dulce on couches. Yeah. That's the real thing doing right now.
Baytown shared me, okay? The Baytown page shared me, okay?
If you're not using social media for work, bro, what are you doing? Get off.
I think that with what you're saying, Victor, is the 80% personality, the 20% business. I can see your point in that because when I go out there, I'm connecting with people. I'm actually out in the community because that's where I've engaged a lot more here recently. It's being a part of the community anywhere, whether I'm talking southeast side, west side, north side, anywhere and everywhere, right? It's about giving back to the community. It's about being present. It's about being professional. It's about your personality. It all plays in a factor on how we run business, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that for me, it's kind of 50-50, I do both,
Yeah, but to my point there is like our personality is this business,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
We're,
Yes.
we're not out here doing any other thing, you know. And so our 80% is us, our personality. If we were just posting business all day, obviously our socials would be extremely boring.
And people get bored of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to show our personality. The easy part for us is our personality is this business. And I want my realtors to know that 80%, yes, personable or business, but it needs to show who you are and attract people to you. And then that 20%, once they're already in your sphere, then you hook them, right? You push forward. And that's the message.
So, Joann, you keep saying that you just started doing marketing again, right? You just started putting yourself out
I
there.
revamped it.
You revamped it?
Yes.
So we met you whenever you were marketing.
Yes.
What, like 2010, 20? What year?
2018.
Really?
Yes.
Damn. Okay, 2018. So 2018 we met you, right? You were marketing yourself. You had just gotten out of prison and you were trying to get your business out there
second
again.
guess in a row.
So the thing is that you haven't been marketing for a while, right? Have you seen the change, and what do you think about the change?
Yes. So I started marketing heavily. That's how I met you guys.
Yes.
You and Phil and your son. And that was me engaging, going out there and networking, meeting everybody, meeting people left and right, but following up, calling you, hounding you
Did
for
hound
the
me, yes.
business,
Uh-huh.
right? And then I did that with so many agents where I couldn't handle going out there and doing it every day to day or
'Cause you were working the
weekly.
deals.
Well, yeah, I'm hustling. I'm working those deals. You know, the production grew substantially with Lionsgate and anyone else that I have partnered up with. So I wasn't able to get out there and network as much. However, with the change in the industry, you know, it's up and down. And we've all been in the business so many years, right? And when I had seen that slowdown, then I said, okay, you know what? I need to get back out there, back to the basics, get out there, network, engage, back in the community, attend the network events, meet new people, anything I can do to hustle and start bringing that business back in. So I feel like it has changed where I've seen a lot of, traction coming in. It's the action putting in place. It's doing it versus saying it, right? So I say, yeah, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. Y nunca lo hago because I was busy.
But what you were
Million
doing
deals.
then is not working right now, correct? Or is it still?
Oh, what I'm doing now,
Yeah.
back to what I was doing then, is working now.
Okay.
So because I know what to do because I did it before, so I'm capable of doing it again. So it's back in.
But Joann is doing a proven concept over and over and over. We teach our agents here that it's, if social media leaves tomorrow, half these people would be dead in the water. For us, we do grassroots marketing, which is going to networking events in person, talking to people, making real life connections, not just a wave, online. We build these relationships in our community with people that we know that know us, that get to like us, and then they send us business. And obviously, we do our part, do good customer service. We deliver on the things that we say we're going to do, and we get more referrals from them. So you're going back to grassroots marketing, and in my opinion, that will never go out of style. That one-on-one relationship, it's never going to go out.
I think
If anything, that right now probably works even better because people don't have communication skills. So the person who does know how to communicate, who isn't shy, who isn't introverted, or even if they are introverted, but they know how to talk to people, that's going to draw people to them and like confide in them because nobody else does it. Everybody thinks it should be done in the DMs, but you can do it, but there's nothing like personal connection.
I think the one thing that I've always respected about Joann is she never went down the woman empowerment route where she just got a bunch of women and everybody supported each other to survive. She literally said, hey, you know what? Let me just get out there and get it, and I'll get it with everybody.
Yep.
And I really like that. I really respect and admire that about you.
Thanks. I feel like that's what I'm there to help anyone and everyone. I mean, yes, women empowerment is great, right? Being a Latina and getting out there and hustling and working it and putting the action in place and this vision that, I see. Yes, I have to go out and speak to anyone and everyone. It's all about helping anyone I can help. Doesn't matter whether it's, wanting someone that want to buy $100,000 house or $1 million house. Every buyer is, for me, treated equally, whichever way it is.
While we're giving Joann her flowers, and she almost didn't get them because she started. She started skating on thin ice there.
It started to snowball. I was like, hold on.
Joann and I have had a lot of conversations while we're doing business together, and I think late nights, long conversations, and Joann, probably one of the most, one of the people that first people that said, we're looking at the market. I'm looking at the charts. There's something coming. You need to start saving money. You need to prepare for what's coming. And she started pushing that to all of our agents and to us, and not in a fearful way. It was always, you're making money now. You're going to continue to make money. You may make money for 2 years, but it's going to stop, and you need to save now. Get what you can now. Keep working. Convince, talk to your people. And it wasn't in a salesman way. It wasn't pushy. It was from genuine concern and respect for the family and admiration for the company. And I always did respect that. It was those caring red flags. You're like, hey, just pay attention to the market, like a caution. Just, hey, I know you're doing this and I know you're working. And I always respected that because we're focused on growth. Nate's focused on, accounting, getting our stuff together, property management, all the things that we're doing. It's always good to have business partnerships that are able to kind of poke your head up and see what's going on for a second and get back to work, And I think the team's always been really good on that.
We can lose sight really quickly when we're focused this way versus this way. So knowing the ins and out and what the next few years to come could be or not is really important, because you can get wrapped up real quick and lose total focus on your near future, because that's also really important. It's just like a home buyer. You buy a home, you close on it. It's not just closing on it, boom, you're gone. It's about teaching them and helping them with the after fact, like the things to keep in mind, right? Upkeep your property, keep maintaining your credit, build equity. You can buy another house or get a home equity loan against it if you need it to pay off debt. Those things are important, is to help everyone in that moment and then thereafter. I feel that for me and all the years that I've been in this business, that for me I take that to heart, because I put myself in the shoes of a buyer. I've been there, done that 3 times, right? So I always tell my buyers, I put myself in your shoes, so this is what I'm going to give you, this advice, right? So I help them there above and beyond. If you need help with your homestead exemption, come over, I'll help you. If you need help signing up with your mortgage, I just had a guy come in yesterday. We helped him set up his payment. We're there to help them, not just in that moment when they close, but then thereafter. Again, with Victor saying is be open, and remember everything that's going on around you,
All right, guys. Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and exit out. Joann, I'm going to go ahead and let you exit out first. Let them know where they can find you and remind them what you do again.
So my office is on 290 in Cypress, so I'm not too far from here. And you can find me on my website as well. Look me up on United Direct Lending's website, Joann Lopez. My phone number as well, you can reach me at 832-326-2974. And, of course, you can always send me an email. I'm available. Let me know how I can help anyone to get into a home. Thank you for having me.
Your Instagram? Your Instagram?
Oh, I do have an Instagram. It's Jojo Nini, but it's actually been changed now to La Reina Los Loans. I'm also, I know, right? I just changed it recently. I also have a TikTok.
Hot and sassy at hotmail.com.
I also have a TikTok and, of course, my Facebook and on LinkedIn. You can find me on all those pages. And basically, just pull up my hashtag, La Reina Los Loans, and you'll find me. You can look me up on Google. And you can also pull up myexperience.com and look at my reviews. I'm everywhere.
Nice. My name is Victorino Cortez. I'm the president here at Lionsgate Realty. And I know Joann says that her office is close, but Joann Hockley is not the new H-Town. You are not here.
That is far.
You can find me on Instagram at Real Presidente.
My name is Nathan Malderas. I'm the master broker for Lionsgate Realty, and I am currently hiring team leaders with your team intact. So contact me if you're looking for a change.
I'm Giovanni, your gracious host here at the HBR podcast. I'm also a sales manager and a home sales expert. If you're looking to join a powerful team east of Houston, I'm looking to grow my team specifically, and we'll send you through Vic and see if he approves of you. I can't approve of you, but you can find us here live every single Thursday. And until next time.
There you go.